my instant reaction was at least one officer needs to be immediately suspended from duty on the basis that his actions have undermined public confidence in the service, and an immediate start for a criminal investigation into an offence of assault, probably assault occasioning actual bodily harm, and an immediate referral to the Independent Office for Police Conduct.
Yes, we've got an update on that incident we were discussing earlier at Manchester Airport. A Greater Manchester police officer has been suspended from all duties after that video emerged showing a man being kicked as he lay on the floor at Manchester Airport. A spokesperson for the force says a referral's now been made to the Independent Office for Police Conduct for a full independent investigation. We understand the deep concerns that have been widely raised with us and will continue to meet and discuss these feelings with Greater Manchester residents and elected representatives while this independent investigation takes place.
If you've not seen the video, it is disgusting. And we had a police officer, a former anti-terrorism police officer, who said what this behaviour was had nothing to do with police training. There's a guy on the floor already been tasered, potentially even tasered twice, and he gets kicked in the head. And he gets kicked in the head with some disgraceful force. Have a look at it, see what you think of it. You can see the video on the Times website.
Let's return to the unfolding story, which has been developing all morning. A police officer has been suspended after a video emerged showing a suspect being kicked in the head as he lay on the floor at Manchester Airport. Constance Kampfner, the Times' northern correspondent, and has got the latest. Bring us up to date, Constance. What's happened? What's happened this morning?
Yeah, so the video, which is really quite shocking, obviously understandably provoked a strong reaction, and there were protests last night outside Rochdale Police Station, a couple of hundred people, and it all passed peacefully, but it is understood that the two men in the video are Asian, and so there's been allegations of systemic racism at the hands of the police. Greater Manchester Police has now suspended the officer in the video and has voluntarily referred itself to the Independent Office for Police Conduct. There have also been 4 arrests, and they said that the whole thing began because firearms officers had been subjected to a violent assault while trying to arrest a person after a fight at Manchester Airport on Tuesday.
And there have been reactions to this protest outside a police station in Rochdale.
Yes, indeed. And we now understand that the two men have sort of lawyered up and are planning on complaining, putting forward a formal complaint to Greater Manchester Police.
Thanks for that, Constance. Constance Kampfner there with the update on the situation there in Rochdale. Paul Ward, the Labour MP for Rochdale, so the footage was truly shocking and disturbing. He was extremely concerned. And Andy Burnham, the Mayor of Greater Manchester, said he'd seen the disturbing video footage which was circulated and recognised the widespread and deep concern this has caused in Greater Manchester and beyond. Elsewhere, a Greater Manchester police officer has been suspended after a video appeared to show him kicking a man and stamping on his head as he lay on the floor at the city's airport. The incident sparked a protest outside Rochdale Police Station last night. The Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, has appealed for calm. Well, Stephen Roberts is the former Deputy Assistant Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police and was its Director of Professional Standards and joins me now. Stephen, it's a very short video. We don't know the context of what happened before or afterwards, but what went through your mind when you first saw the clip?
It's shocking behaviour on the part of at least one officer and possibly more. And it's very hard to imagine any possible justification, legal justification, for what was done there. So my instant reaction was at least one officer needs to be immediately suspended from duty on the basis that his actions have undermined public confidence in the service, and an immediate start for a criminal investigation into an offence of assault, probably assault occasioning actual bodily harm, and an immediate referral to the Independent Office for Police Conduct. Had that happened, it might just have averted the demonstration, might just have calmed down public opinion a bit better than what seems now to have happened, where the officer has been suspended eventually sometime later.
And what are the rules in terms of the force that you are able to use? There are clearly some situations, and there's a suggestion that before this happened, 3 police officers have been assaulted, including a female officer who had suffered a broken nose. What are the rules about the acceptable? I mean, clearly there's a difference between kicking someone in the head and other sorts of force. But what are the rules about what force is able to be used by an officer?
Officers are able, and indeed this is their duty, to use lawful force in order to protect both themselves and members of the public. But that force must be proportionate to the events, proportionate to the risk, and it must be force that's reasonable in all the circumstances. Now, there's been something made of the fact that there have been serious assaults on some of those officers prior to the video clip. But I'm afraid retaliation is absolutely no excuse whatsoever. This appears to be a person on the ground, not fighting, not presenting a risk to the officers or to anybody else. So it is difficult to see how it could conceivably be lawful.
There's also, I mean, the element, and we've seen this obviously an awful lot these days. Everyone has got a camera in their pocket. There's clearly never a good time to kick the police officer kicking someone in the head. But just being in a public place like that, it's almost inevitable that it's going to be captured. And I just wonder whether you think that is that making policing harder? Is it holding more police to account? Just the fact that, in all these incidents we saw with the riots last week in Leeds, everything these days is captured and it's being streamed in real time. It's not even waiting to be uploaded. It's being streamed in real time.
It's certainly making bad policing harder. My own view is rather like the body-worn cameras that almost all officers are carrying almost all the time now. Having an objective video and audio record of what's happened, A, should protect officers from malicious allegations, but B, should force officers to think twice about what they're doing, to think about not letting anger lead to unlawful retaliation.
It's really interesting, that. Stephen, really good to speak to you. Stephen Roberts, the former Deputy Assistant Commissioner of Metropolitan Police and former Director of Professional Standards at the Force. Greater Manchester Police has said this morning, after a thorough review of the situation, they have suspended that police officer from all duties, and a referral has now been made to the Independent Office of Police Conduct, as Stephen was just discussing there. It goes on to say, we understand the deep concerns have been widely raised with us and will continue to meet and discuss those feelings with Greater Manchester residents and elected representatives while this independent investigation takes place. More on that as and when there are developments, of course, on Times Radio.